Find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
Hi, I'm Molly.
And I'm Abigail.
We're sisters.
And we believe in ghosts.
Welcome to Supernatural Sisters, a podcast all about ghostly encounters, bone-chilling monsters, and basically anything that goes bump in the night. Each week, we talk about a haunted place, a legendary monster, or a story that sends shivers down our spines. And maybe we'll talk about the pottery scene from Ghost.
He's not a ghost in that scene. There are other parts of that movie where he's a ghost.
Subscribe wherever you get podcasts.
And remember, we believe you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cryptid Cocktail Party, a show where we have a few drinks, share a few laughs, take a dive into the unknown. I'm your host, Dave, and I almost forgot to unmute my microphone. And I am joined today by Mr. Cryptid Clyde. What's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing all right. Cryptid is your first name, right? So it's Mr. Clyde?
Yeah, yeah. My dad's Mr. Clyde. It's just Cryptid Clyde.
Gotcha. Oh, but how you doing, man? I'm so glad that you were able to hop on this. I'm very excited.
Hey, yeah, I'm good. Apart from the momentary audio difficulties we had, I'm doing great now.
Yeah, we found a workaround, and through the magic of AI, I can make you sound like you're in the room with me. Maybe we'll figure it out.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but you're doing good. I haven't spoken to you in person since Squonkapalooza, which was the first and only time I've ever spoken to you in person, but I had a great time there, and I'm very glad that you were my booth neighbor, I guess.
Yeah, say, what was there was somebody playing music or something, right? There was, it was the balloon artist right next to you, right?
No, it was the anime artist that was across from us, and they were blasting Wu-Tang Clan. And not like the family friendly, not that there is many, but like this is a kid friendly event. So anyone who wasn't at Squonkapalooza, this was like a family friendly. It was like in a park in a small town, and it was like really nice. And then these dudes just set up these like a full on PA system, and just start blasting the most aggressively violent rap, which I'm fine with it, but
Sure. I mean, Wu-Tang is for the children, so it's not too bad.
I believe that's what I messaged you, and I was like, good thing this is a family event because Wu-Tang is for the children. If it was anywhere else, this would be highly inappropriate.
Absolutely. Every Chuck E. Cheese birthday has Wu-Tang playing, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I used to work at Chuck E. Cheese, so I can confirm that is the case. The
fantastic.
Yeah, they actually switched out the animatronic band that used to play at Chuck E. Cheese, and it's just animatronic Wu-Tang now. It's just nine dudes just going full bars on these 8-year-olds.
Yeah, the full what, like 36 chambers or whatever? Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not...
Oh my God.
Oh, that was so aggressive. I loved it though.
It was great. It was great.
Oh. Well, yeah, man, I'm super glad that you were able to come. I guess for people who don't know who you are, I guess, do you want to like shamelessly plug yourself for like a minute or two?
Sure. I mean, I'm a dude who just likes to draw monsters and found an excuse to do that by having a shop as my side gig, and yeah, that's kind of the cliff notes of it. I do graphic design for a day job, but this is a way to do something actually fun with my life. So yeah.
Yeah. It's weird that I know a lot of people who are graphic designers in their in their actual job, and then they do graphic design for a side gig, and they do the most horrific, horrible like monster horror artwork. And it's like. But I don't know if that came because they had a mundane like 9-to-5 job. And they're like, I need to stop designing logos for like vineyard vines. I need to do something, and they just get into this dark space.
Yeah, it's a real chicken and the egg situation for sure.
All right. So, Clyde, you have no idea what we're going to talk about today, right?
Nope, I'm coming in blind.
All right, and it's safe to say that I usually ask people, you're clearly a cryptids guy, so you might actually know what we're talking about today.
I am, as far as cryptids go, I know a little about a lot, so we'll see how this goes.
All right, that's fine. So the original topic I had for this is what I titled the episode, and the first like 4 paragraphs are about that, and then I just went off the rails. So this episode either A, won't make any sense like chronologically,
Okay.
but in researching the topic that we're about to discuss, I found that it went way further back than I thought it did, and the roots of the lore and the story. So I had to kind of like scrap my idea halfway through and then just shoehorn in the backstory. But I think I made it work.
Okay.
All
okay.
right. Now, Clyde, second question. You ever been to New Orleans?
As much as I would love to go, I have never been, no.
All right. Well, I'm going to give you some backstory on New Orleans. All right. So
Excellent.
New Orleans is easily one of the most famous cities in the United States. I can't really find it hard to argue that. Most people know what New Orleans is. It's the home of some of the most famous people on the planet, like Lil Wayne's from New Orleans, Louis Armstrong, and noted asshole, possible white supremacist and frontman of the band Pantera, Phil Anselmo, is also from there.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Just a wide array of people. Yeah. It's a popular tourist destination thanks to its insanely good music scene, and that goes for virtually any genre you can think of. Blues, bluegrass, jazz, punk, metal, all of it. Most everything that comes out of there is pretty much gold. It's also known for its Creole and Cajun cuisine. Oh my God. It's best known for its Creole and Cajun cuisine. And every year the city holds one of the wildest and longest parties, Mardi Gras, where the whole city goes all out basically for like 2 weeks, if not longer. Parades, shows, booze, people just whipping out their titties in return for like 2-cent bead necklaces. Again, just an all around good time for the family to enjoy. So that's I guess that's pretty much New Orleans in a nutshell. There's probably way more to it.
No, that's totally it. Yeah.
When most people think about New Orleans, I feel like Mardi Gras is like the first thing they think of.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I would assume. Now, if you're like me and you like the more macabre things about a city or a place, New Orleans isn't just all tits and glamour. All right. So the city does have a darker history to it. Like, for example, from May 1918 to October 1919, New Orleans was home to an unknown and never caught axe murderer dubbed the Axeman of New Orleans.
Yes, I do know this one. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the span of that year killed 6 people, injured 6 more, and then famously ended by writing like a letter to the police or something like that, saying that if everyone in the city blares jazz music at this time on a specific date, I'll just pass through your city, which he did. Apparently, like pretty much everyone was just blaring jazz, which is kind of fucked up that they just kind of bowed to the whim of the serial killer. But I think I would probably do the same too.
But in true New Orleans fashion, it was a party that solved everything. So
True.
yeah,
That's very accurate. And they were probably going to do that anyways. Like, let's see. It was also home to Jean and Pierre Lafitte, who were famous pirates of the time.
Yes.
And Jean gaining a little more fame due to his role on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. When you launch off from that ride, it's from, I think it's Lafitte's Landing or something like that.
Yep.
Let's see. Lee Harvey Oswald, the man who assassinated JFK, also hails from New Orleans. And
we'll say supposedly assassinated JFK.
Oh, sorry. Possible president murderer Lee Harvey Oswald may or may not be from New Orleans.
Excellent.
Yeah, but undoubtedly the most like horrible person to ever come out of New Orleans is Madame Dauphine Lalaurie, who was a very rich New Orleans socialite who tortured, mutilated, and murdered at the very least 12 slaves in the attic of her mansion on Royal Street. It's believed that number is much higher, and her crimes were only discovered because one of her enslaved servants, the cook, I think, just set the house on fire, and she was like, "Fuck this! I'm done with this." And so they set the house on fire so that people would come in and like find the crimes. Last podcast on the left just did like a really good 2-part series on it. So if you want to learn more about that, definitely go check that out. Now, Clyde, hear me out. All right.
Yeah. Yes.
I know all this New Orleans history is fun and all, and I didn't even get into like the history of like voodoo or witchcraft in the area, or like the billions of ghost stories and hauntings the city has, because there's a shit ton of those. Because
or the Nick Cage tombstone.
I didn't get into any of that. Actually, Nick Cage, fun fact, I believe Nick Cage either did or still does own the Lalaurie mansion.
Yes, I think he sold it all of his fun tax stuff. So
yeah, but at one point he owned that, and he owned like the church with the graveyard in it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, something much darker lurks in the swamps around New Orleans, and it's a creature with the body of a man, the head of a wolf, and a heart that's just brimming with Catholic rage. And that creature is the creature is known as the Rougarou. Are you familiar with Are you familiar with the Rougarou?
I know of it, and apart from being mentioned on a few podcasts, it's also because of the movie Wolf Cop. So yeah, I know about the fruit.
Oh God, Wolf Cop, man, I forgot about that movie. Tragedy. All right, so said to stalk the swamps around New Orleans and Acadiana. I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm just going to say that's what it is. As well as sugarcane fields and woodlands of the surrounding areas, the Rougarou is essentially a werewolf. It's a cursed man who at night during the full moon is transformed into a towering monster with the body of a human, albeit covered in fur, just yoked as all hell. Long and sharp teeth and claws. Oh my God, teeth and claws. I'm having a mild stroke right now. And the head of the wolf. It's said that when the Rougarou is in its wolf-like form, it always retains its full human intelligence, memory, and sense of self, which is kind of an upsell if you ask me. I don't see any downsides to that, because you could be pretty much a superhero.
100%. I mean, in the argument of vampire werewolf, I'm always a werewolf crew. So having all of your senses and abilities,
yeah,
hell yeah, I'm down.
In a heartbeat. Now, tales of the Rougarou have been around for centuries in French folklore, starting with stories of the Loup-garou. And this is where my script just kind of stops talking about the Rougarou altogether, because I found out that the Rougarou is just the Loup-garou, but since it's in Creole, they just made it a different sound. But Loup-garou just means werewolf. So this episode is basically about werewolves. So we're going to have fun with that.
Excellent.
This is dating all the way back to at least the 16th century. So not only were, there endless wars, hunger, disease, famine, droughts, and dragons, they're all part of like your daily worries. Now you also got werewolves to deal with in the 16th century, which is just sounds awful.
Just pile it on, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and during this time, a lot of people would just blame the Loup-garou for a number of different things back then. So like something murdered all your livestock, the Loup-garou did it. Your kid get killed, Loup-garou. Your wife leave you for the blacksmith, that was the Loup-garou.
Loup-garou.
And just like in Salem during like the witch trials, if you were just like a generally like weird and off-putting dude, there's a good chance that you're just going to be accused of and tried and probably convicted under the suspicion of being a werewolf. So
100%.
yeah, it's just all good. Now, for the most part, the Loup-garou is used more as like a cautionary tale for children, like all good folklore is and should be used for. You got to really traumatize them young, so that way it sticks with them, Yeah.
Very Red Riding Hood, a big bad wolf kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you don't clean your room, the Loup-garou is gonna fucking kill you. That kind of thing. That is until 1764, when a quote-unquote real-life Loup-garou, dubbed the Beast of Gévaudan, terrorized the French countryside for about 3 full years, starting with the brutal killing of a 14-year-old farm girl named Jeanne Boulet. I'm just making up how to say these names in French, but they sound fine. And that happened near the Allier River in June of that first year. It then continued its rampage, injuring and dismembering and even decapitating several people. News of the beast spread across France. People were rightfully terrified, with the news eventually reaching the ear of King Louis XV who ended up sending his own hunters and even his personal bodyguard, Francois Antoine, to track and kill the beast. And on September 21st, 1765, Francois and his men killed a large wolf that they assumed was the beast responsible. So good for them.
But I do remember that it's just like, we got a wolf, guys, so
yeah, so
it's probably one.
So with a job well done from the king, him and his men dusted themselves off, collected their reward, and just got the fuck out of there. But then the attack started back up again and continued for 2 years. But since the king had already told everyone that the beast responsible was dead and he didn't want to look like a fucking asshole, he just ignored it. He just ignored him this time. In newspapers of the day, the authorities, they all did the same. So over the course of those like 3 years, the beast of Gévaudan killed at least 100 people, with some sources claiming the total number killed could be as high as 300, which is fucking bonkers, dude.
Dang.
Like, if you think about everything else happening at this time, to be 300 people just killed by a werewolf, like that's wild.
It's absolutely insane, especially even if we're gonna go like the logical route of it being just a wild animal. Like that body count's huge.
It's really high. It's like not okay. It was just like an all around bad time for everyone involved. But luckily for the people of Gévaudan, a local hunter named Jean Chastel put an end to the attacks when he shot and killed a large animal on June 19th, 1767, that witnesses described as a wolf, but like a super weird looking one. It had a massive head, and its fur was red, white, and gray, which no one had ever seen before. And to this day, no one really knows what it was. There are theories that like it was an escaped like juvenile male wolf. So like it had a mane, but not like a full, not wolf, sorry, lion. So like it had it had a mane, but not like a full lion's mane. It's like the halfway transition, like teenage Simba from The Lion King. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hot Simba. Yeah, totally. That's
just, hot Simba.
Oh yeah, the hottest. I've also heard hyena was thrown out there a couple times too.
I heard hyena as well. Which the fur color actually kind of more tracks, I guess, to being a hyena. But like, what the fuck's a hyena doing in France? Like, what?
Oh yeah, neither of these answers give any logic to it.
No, none of this makes sense. But I mean, it also makes no sense that there's a full-on werewolf. So,
and
really any explanation at this point, I'll take it. But Clyde, you're probably wondering, how did the Rougarou, this French werewolf folklore, end up becoming the Rougarou, which is now a staple in New Orleans folklore? Maybe not, but I'm going to assume you are, so I'm going to keep going. Well,
that's good.
it's pretty simple. They're one and the same. Like I said at the top, when the French settled to Louisiana, as well as the French-Canadian immigrants who came centuries ago, they brought this folklore with them and the legends as well. And then the French-Canadian ended up more assimilating with like the Native Americans and the indigenous peoples of Canada in the area. And then they kind of just melded all their shit together, because Native Americans and First Nations people also had like Wolfman stuff. So that's how they kind of just melded it. It's, America, truly a melting pot of cultures. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, actually, the whole thing is reminiscent of the Shunkawericon, which is also another weird kind of wolf, maybe?
Sure. But yeah, no, so yeah, it was more the Rougarou. Oh my God. So the French came over, and then they met with the Native Americans and indigenous peoples, the First Nations in Canada, and they're like, yo, you have a fucked up wolf? We have a fucked up wolf. Let's just kind of team up, and we'll just kind of see how this plays out. But then those people emigrated to New Orleans, and what happened was the name Rougarou and Lougarou, like I said, are actually both used in Louisiana. It just depends on how you're feeling that day. And in reality, the most likely reason is because Cajun dialect is a mixture of both English and French. And they're kind of just known to just completely change the pronunciation of words. just to have them kind of like roll off the tongue easier. So Lou became Roo. And that's kind of how that happens. So now you're probably thinking, well, how does one become a Rougarou?
Exactly.
Whether you want to avoid it or make a transformation, like a big life decision. Well, there's a couple different ways. One is kind of dumb. The legend has it that only a witch can make a Rougarou, either by turning into a wolf themselves or by giving people the curse of lycanthropy, which is probably the lamest of all the legends, so I'm not even going to humor that one. Another legend states that a Rougarou is only cursed for like 101 days, but they can transfer the curse to another human if they shed their blood. Now, I heard two versions of this, and neither of them make sense to me. So the first one is that the Rougarou has to spill the blood of a victim, not kill the person, just make them bleed. And then that person becomes a Rougarou, and then the original one can go back to human form. But then the other person is a Rougarou for 101 days unless it does the same thing, or it doesn't tell anyone about them being a Rougarou, or they don't tell anyone about the encounter they had with the Rougarou. So and then the other version is it's that but reverse. So the human makes the Rougarou bleed, and then the original one becomes human again, but now that person's a Rougarou. It's like a weird fucked up version of like it's like the videotape from The Ring. It's either you die in 7 days or you make someone watch the videotape. It's kind of like that.
It's just like a werewolf chain letter, basically.
Yeah, neither of them makes sense. I don't understand.
Yeah, the 101 days thing, that's a new one. I had not heard that part.
Now, another way, and this is probably my favorite way, just because it's hilarious that you could have a Rougarou, and this is according to French Catholics. So if you break or don't recognize the tradition of Lent for 7 years, you'll be transformed into a Rougarou, and then your only mission from then on out is to hunt down and kill other Catholics who do not follow the rules of Lent. So
as a kid who was raised Catholic and has not practiced Lent for over a decade, I guess you know what I'm doing in my free time, you know?
It's either that or watch your back, because something's coming for you pretty soon. It could either end really good or really bad for you, man. I don't know.
I love my meat and during Lent, man. What can I say? No fish fillet for me.
But what if your thing for Lent is giving up Lent?
You know? Or giving up being a werewolf.
Yeah, there's no but Rougarous and Lougarous, or werewolves, I'm just gonna say werewolves from now on, because Rougarou, it's just not rolling off the tongue as much as I'd like it to. They aren't all that bad. According to legend, yes, they are mostly creatures of vengeance, or at least that's what I read. But they're also beasts of protection and somewhat like a guardian angel. They've been known to befriend and protect the downtrodden and those society has rejected. Orphans, widows, the houseless. But that's only if you're pure of heart. So if you're a shitty orphan, fuck off.
You got to look out for Krampus, and you got to look out for the Rougarou.
Yeah, they're all coming for you. But let's say you don't want anything to do with those things, and you just want to make sure that you never come face to face with a werewolf or a Rougarou in this case. There are a couple different things you can do to kind of like stay off their radar. I guess one would be to make sure at least once every 7 years you just observe Lent. The other one is classic, silver. Just keep a silver something on you, and they'll kind of just leave you alone. And then this one is kind of weird. Outside of your house, you want to leave 13 objects. Now, the reason for this is because they will, for some reason, instinctively try to count those items.
Oh, it's the vampire with the rice stick.
Yeah, but apparently Rougarous can't count past 12. So, so all right.
Oh, that's a fun wrinkle.
So what happens is they'll get to 12 and then they'll just fucking short circuit and get really frustrated, and they're just like, it's like a game of Monopoly. They'll just flip the board and be like, fuck this game, I'm out of here. Just go back to whatever they're doing. But this one doesn't make any sense. And the reason why is because the legend says that you retain your sense of self
Right.
and all that stuff. But is that like the one caveat? Is that you are you as a human being in the head of a Rougarou?
Math. You cannot do math.
Yeah, math is just not in the equation for you, literally. But,
Oh my God, I had never heard that part. That's incredible.
that's good, right?
Yeah.
Oh shit! All right, man. Well, there you go. Whatever. There you have it. That is the legend of the Rougarou, aka the Rougarou, aka werewolves.
Yeah. Wow. That's I'm still getting over this bad thing.
Dude, it's so good.
Of all the weaknesses of any like creature, counting to 13 was not on the radar.
Yeah, no. When I saw that, I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. That doesn't make any sense. But I'm here for it. I love it.
Oh my God.
But do you think it's like 13 for like that weird superstition?
There's a whole lot of weird stuff around 13. Like a lot of, again, this is the years of Catholicism I was forced into. But 12 is a biblical number that pops up a lot, like the 12 tribes of Israel, and 12 disciples and everything. So yeah, the 13th has always had this weird religious subtext to it. So if we're going with the witchcraft explanation, I think that kind of lines up. It's not so much the counting part, but the number itself is a spooky number.
Yeah.
Plus, maybe back in like the 16th century, counting to 13, you probably never had to do that before.
They weren't doing baker's dozen back then, man.
Yeah. A dozen was a hard dozen. Anything past that it's either 2 dozen or a half dozen. It doesn't matter.
Oh my God. Yeah, go on.
Well, I was just gonna say, I'm glad you enjoyed the story. Thoughts? Where are we at? Do you still have love for werewolves? If anything, this made it better for me. I don't know about you.
I mean, I've always been terrible at math, so the whole like flipping the table at number 13, 100%, I'm there.
It makes it really humanizes it.
It really does. I can emphasize that a lot. Yeah, no, I love the werewolf legends in general, man. It's just, it's such a unique thing. Like I feel like a lot of cryptids are either really, really like way out there weird, or like very, very grounded.
Yeah.
Like Bigfoot's just a primate of some kind. Like that's relatively mundane. But like werewolves, right in this middle part of like, it's human, but it's not. It's got all these legends from different peoples and whatnot. It's interesting.
But also like the Bigfoot, I feel like most cultures, no matter where you are, have some sort of lycanthropy story in their like belief system and or just their like history in general. So I mean, it's kind of like the Bigfoot in that sense.
Yeah, it is kind of a universal thing. Yeah, and it's also weird that it's primarily canines. I think there's part of that is like, us domesticating them so early on in our humanity, that that's a part of our culture in a way. But you don't see too many other animals. There are occasionally, like I've heard, like were hyenas, and there's the berserker kind of thing from Viking legend and whatnot. But
Clyde,
it's most dogs. Yeah.
Don't get too ahead of yourself. I didn't put this in the story, and I'm gonna try and find it now. But there are legends of the Rougarou where it's not a wolf, but it could be a rabbit, it could be a bear, it could be
what? A rabbit. A rabbit.
Yes.
Okay, that
it's not widely accepted, but that is one of the things, is that it could have the head of a rabbit.
I'm just flashing the light and Night of the Lepus, basically, man. The giant rabbits wreaking havoc. Oh my God, a rabbit?
Yeah, but it still has the massively jacked human body.
Oh, that's just
like a bunny head.
Oh, I don't like that image.
It's not ideal.
No.
Because what's fucked up is that it still does all the same things that the werewolf would do, but it's just a bunny now.
Oh my god! just picturing that bunny with a body count of 300. You know.
Fucking that bunny's putting up numbers, man. I tell you what.
And now the whole like Lent thing makes sense with Easter, man. That just lined up too perfect.
Oh my god, I almost just spit out my beer. Oh shit. All right.
God.
All right, Clyde. It's about that time. We're gonna wrap things up. I want to say thank you again so much for coming on. We'll definitely have to do this again. We'll do 100%. We'll do this again, and hopefully next time the better audio version will work.
Let's hope.
But before we go, just tell people where they can find you, where they can buy your art, stickers, all that stuff, just so they know. And I'll link it all in the episode description as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't have many links. I got Instagram. It's just cryptid-clyde on there. I'm sorry, not cryptid-cryptid_Clyde on Instagram. Cryptid-Clyde.shop is my website. And that's actually it. So yeah.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate you. Make sure to follow us at Cryptid Cocktail Party on Instagram and Twitter. Follow me on TikTok at Cryptid Cocktail Party. I don't ever really use it, but it's fun to just find stock footage and then put voiceovers over it. But yeah, no, that's it for me. You want to say bye to everyone?
Goodbye, everyone.